Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Anil Thomas. Coming up in the next hour, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate the 10th edition of Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit in Gandhinagar with the theme Gateway to the Future. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says Israel must make hard choices, work with Palestinian leaders. Hints regional countries are ready to invest in Gaza, but only with pathway to state. And China piles pressure on Taiwan ahead of pivotal election. Taiwan says Beijing is using unprecedented levels of cognitive warfare and weather balloons to rattle the nation. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 10th edition of Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024 in Gandhinagar today. The theme of the three-day summit is Gateway to the Future. Further, this 10th edition of the summit will celebrate 20 years of Vibrant Gujarat as the success or as the summit of success. There are 34 partner countries, 16 partner organizations at this year's summit. The Ministry of Development of Northeastern region will utilize the Vibrant Gujarat platform to showcase investment opportunities in the Northeastern regions. The summit will focus on Industry 4.0, technology and innovation, sustainable manufacturing, green hydrogen, electric mobility and renewable energy, along with transition towards sustainability. Thereafter, he will hold a meeting with CEOs of global corporations. Prime Minister will also travel to the Gift City in the evening, where he will interact with prominent business leaders in the Global FinTech Leadership Forum. National Highway Speed Rail Corporation Limited has prepared different models to be displayed at the Vibrant Gujarat Summit 2024. These models include the Sabarmati HSR Terminal, India's first undersea rail tunnel boring machine, scale model of the MAHSR bullet train, scale model of the Surat HSR train station, and MAHSR track system. Well, for more on the story, we've got Vishal Barrister joining us from Gandhinagar in Gujarat to get us the latest on the Vibrant Gujarat Global Fest that we see. Good morning, Vishal. Looking at this year's theme, as we celebrate 20 years of Vibrant Gujarat, the theme, Gateway to the Future. How are windows of opportunities, coming especially in this edition of Vibrant Gujarat for the people of Gujarat and for the state in particular?
Very good morning to you, Anil. Yes, the theme says it all. Gateway to the future. And when we talk about future, green hydrogen, electric mobility is the future. And that is why the partner countries, they are very much interested. In fact, Japan has put up the largest pavilion of all the foreign participants. And we are looking at this opportunity, not only for Gujarat, not only for the country, but also for all those who are participating, because Europe is there, Australia is there, Africa is there, and obviously Asia is also there. And when we talk about Asia, all the developed countries of Asia, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, they are participating, and also the Timor-Leste, Timor and Australia and Germany, you name it and you have it, Czech Republic, they are all participating in this very important show, which is said to be Gateway to the Future, because we are looking at innovative ideas, we are looking at all the technologies which are new. Artificial intelligence is one, and all the countries are very much interested in it. Prime Minister would be inaugurating this show today, and along with him would be the President of the United Arab Emirates. Yesterday we saw how the roadshow had a grand reception in Ahmedabad when the Prime Minister, along with the President of the United Arab Emirates, they had a roadshow of 3 kilometers starting from the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport to the Indira Bridge. And people from all walks of life, they had gathered to receive the Prime Minister, to welcome the Prime Minister. And yesterday, the Prime Minister also inaugurated the trade show. So it is an excellent opportunity, and it's been almost 20 years since this started. It was vision of the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Prime Narendra Modi, who is now the Prime Minister of the country. So we are all looking at very, very important and hectic economic activities as far as this show is concerned.
Okay, Vishal, looking at, decode this for us, 20 years of, vibrant Gujarat that we have seen. What's been the political, what's been the economic, advantages that the state has gained? One of the few states that started off with, a celebration like this, inviting investors, inviting countries to come and participate. How's been the outlook? Because this is going to be the first, Vibrant Gujarat event that you see in Amrit Kal. So, take us through the journey, decode it for us.
Well, Amit, Anil, when we talk about the Amrit Kal, which is 25 years for 2047, we have already crossed 75 years of independence, and Prime Minister is very much keen that the country should be a developed nation by 2047 and in whatever way in all the key areas. Recently, he had a meeting of the DG and IGs in Jaipur, and there also he said that I want the police force to be world-class by 2047. So the whole idea is connected with making India the world leader in 2047. Now, when we talk about this Gujarat show, it all started off 20 years back, and now it has become a trendsetter. Many states have joined in. Recently, we had similar kind of show in Uttarakhand also, where the Chief Minister went ahead and went to Europe, went to United Kingdom and asked the foreign investors to invest in Uttarakhand. So this Vibrant Gujarat show has been a trendsetter, not only for Gujarat, but also in the political arena as well. And Gujarat model was showcased in 2013 as to why Gujarat has progressed so much, what is so special about Gujarat. And then we saw the arrival of Narendra Modi, and then he has been leading the country till now. Anil?
Also purely from a perspective of understanding for our audience, this particular edition of Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit comes after a gap of almost 5 years. This is a post-COVID first summit that you see in Gujarat that takes place. Can it be dubbed as a summit of success when one takes a look at the success that Gujarat has managed to get on the national map?
Well, absolutely, because Gujarat has been the trendsetter. It all started off in 2003. Then it came as a role model for other states to follow. But the point is that we are having this show after COVID, and that is why there is a lot of expectation from the show. A lot of countries are participating. A lot of country heads are participating. In fact, Prime Minister would be meeting the CEOs of many countries. When we talk about the future, as the theme says, gateway to the future, conductors are the future, and that is why there's a lot of focus on artificial intelligence. And we all know that Taiwan is one of the leading nations as far as manufacturing of the semiconductors are concerned. United States of America is one. In fact, Micron has also set up a unit here in Gujarat for the manufacturing of the semiconductors. So in that way, Gujarat has shown the world how and when it can come up and how it can be successful. Few years back, it was Maharashtra all the way. That was the industrial capital of the country, the financial capital of the country. But we have seen how Gujarat slowly but steadily has taken over other states. And now we see that big companies who were rejected by other states, we know that Nano project was rejected by West Bengal and how it was welcomed in Gujarat. So other companies are coming, foreign companies are coming. Japan is showing a lot of interest, and also the African nations. In fact, yesterday Yesterday, the delegation from Mozambique also met the Prime Minister, and also a delegation from Timor-Leste met the Prime Minister. The Czech Republic head of state is also here. So it has been a success story all the way through, and the next 2 days will add on another feather to the already feathered cap of Gujarat.
Well, we'll leave it there. The Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit is surely had a major role, especially in helping Gujarat progress over the last 20 years. It's also helped Prime Minister Narendra Modi, was the first to start this particular Vibrant Gujarat model, after which many states like Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand have all started similar summits in their state, welcoming investors to come and invest in their country. Shifting focus, meanwhile, in a landmark development, India's Minister for Women and Child Development, along with Minority Affairs, Smriti Irani, accompanied by V. Muralidharan, the Union Minister of State for External Affairs and Parliamentary Affairs, embarked on a historic visit to Medina, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This unprecedented visit marks the first time a non-Muslim delegation has been welcomed to Medina, underscoring the exceptional nature of India-Saudi Arabia bilateral relations. Earlier this week, the delegation also took the opportunity to engage with Indian volunteers dedicated to serving Hajj pilgrims, extending appreciation for their selfless efforts during Hajj 2023. India's assistance to Maldives encompasses a gambit of sectors such as defense, education, healthcare, and infrastructure. India was among the first nations to establish diplomatic relations with Maldives after the Indian Ocean archipelago gained independence in 1965. India assisted Maldives during the 1988 attempted coup as well. Let's take a look at how India has played the perfect neighbor to Maldives.
India-Maldives diplomatic row rift has widened in the political spectrum. Reports say several Maldivian opposition leaders have demanded newly elected Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu's government to resign over comments about PM Modi. Sources say Maldives MP Ali Azim even asked MDP or Maldivian Democratic Party, the largest opposition party, to initiate a vote of no confidence. India has always stood by Maldives in its good and bad times, from pharmaceutical to defense to education to healthcare to infrastructure. New Delhi has adopted a flexible and accommodating approach in meeting Maldivian requirements. In 2018, PM Modi also attended the swearing-in ceremony of then-President Ibrahim Solih. India's humanitarian assistance to Maldives. India was the first to assist during the water crisis in Malé in December 2014. India had provided pollution dispersant to MNDF Coast Guard in 2016. In January 2020, India's swift dispatch of 30,000 doses of measles vaccine prevented an outbreak in the Maldives. India gave assistance of $250 million to Maldives for economic impact of COVID-19. Maldives became the first country to receive as gift 100,000 doses of India-manufactured vaccines with 96 hours of countrywide rollout. India is engaged in a host of infrastructure and development projects in Maldives, ranging from airports at Hanimadu and Gan Island, the Greater Malé Connectivity Project, development of Guli Falhu Port. The biggest project India is presently carrying out in Maldives is the Greater Malé Connectivity Project. Let's understand how India contributes to the tourism industry. In 2018, India was the fifth largest source of tourist arrivals in Maldives with around 6.1%, which is over 90,474 market share. In 2019, India reached the second spot with almost double the number of arrivals compared to 2018. In the pandemic hit 2020, India was the largest source market for the Maldives with nearly 63,000 Indians visiting Maldives. In 2021 and 2022, India continued as the top market with over 2.91 lakh and 2.41 lakh Indian tourist arrivals. In 2023, India with 1,93,693 tourist arrivals is the second leading source market. In March 2022, India and Maldives agreed for an open skies arrangement to further improve connectivity. Trade between India and Maldives has grown by 4 times since India's PM Narendra Modi assumed office in 2014. In 2022, the total trade volume was USD 501.82 million compared to USD 173.50 million in 2014. The bilateral trade had crossed the USD 300 million mark for the first time in 2021, making India its third largest trade partner. Abhishek Mahajan reporting for DD India.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Taiwan issues an island-wide alert after a Chinese satellite flies over its southern airspace. Peru declares emergency on northern border with Ecuador after an attack on a TV station by gangs termed as terrorists by the president. Scientists find bottled water contains up to 100 times more plastic than previously estimated.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Anil Thomas. The year 2024 is poised to become a monumental chapter in democratic history as over 60 nations collectively representing half of the world's population prepare to cast their votes in a series of pivotal elections. Anticipated to engage an estimated 4 billion voters, these polls will mark a colossal exercise in democratic participation on a global scale. DD India's Mihir Makhuri gives us a complete roundup of the upcoming elections.
2024 is set to be one of the most consequential years in recent political history. The year will bear witness to national elections in more than 60 countries, representing over half the world's population. The United States, India, Mexico and Indonesia are just a few nations that are heading to the polls in 2024. Now let's get you some details of the nations heading for the democratic dance floor in the next 12 months. The US will head to the polls on November 5. 160 plus million Americans are registered to vote. The polls are to be the 60th US presidential election. Voting also to elect nearly half the members of the US Senate and House of Representatives. Incumbent President Joe Biden hopes to secure a second consecutive term in office. Ex-US President Donald Trump is hoping to secure a second non-consecutive term. Elections 2024 Mexico. June 2, Mexicans will head to the polls. Mexico has nearly 100 million voters. Voters will elect a new president to serve a 6-year term. 500 Chamber of Deputies members and 128 members of the Senate of the Republic will also be elected. 2 leading presidential candidates are women for the first time in Mexico's history. Ballot papers across Mexico will also include votes to fill 20,000 plus public positions. European Union. Elections for the European Parliament will be held from June 6 to 9. 400 plus million voters will elect 720 members of the EU Parliament across 27 member states. European Parliament elections will be the world's biggest transnational polls across multiple national boundaries. United Kingdom. The UK is set to go for polls the same year. General elections would most likely take place in the second half of 2024. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has indicated that he might call snap polls. Taiwan. January 13. 8th direct presidential election set to be held. 23.5 million strong electorate. DPP and KMT have alternated winning the seat of governance in Taiwan since 1996. Taiwan remains caught in the crosshairs of the tussle between US and China. Russia. Amidst the ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis, Russia to go to the polls from March 15 to 17. Nearly 110 million people have the right to vote in Russia. Vladimir Putin is running for president again and will face little opposition. Putin's impending re-election to keep him in power until at least 2030. India, April-May 2024. India's election will be the world's largest 900+ million people are registered to vote. Voters will elect 543 members to the lower house of parliament called the Lok Sabha. Party or coalition with the simple majority of 273 seats will form the next government. Incumbent two-term Prime Minister Narendra Modi stands head and shoulders above other possible challengers. 2024 also holds great importance for India's foreign policy, as the country's immediate neighborhood will be holding national elections, and outcomes of some of these elections may have a direct bearing on bilateral ties. On January 7, Bangladesh voted to re-elect Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for a fourth straight term in a controversial election, and on January 9, the party of Bhutan's former Prime Minister Shering Togbe won general elections with nearly two-thirds of the seats in parliament. Pakistan's elections were also scheduled for February 8, but the country's Senate passed a non-binding resolution on the 5th demanding a delay in the general elections, citing prevailing security conditions in the country. Going south, Sri Lanka may finally hold elections this year after the ouster of its last elected president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, in 2022. The country hasn't had a general election since 2018. As these elections in nearly 65 countries unfold, it will be a testament to the vibrancy and variegation of democracy around the world. It also holds the potential to reshape world order and global dynamics. Mihir Maikuri's report for DD India.
Moving on to Asia Pacific, Taiwan on Tuesday sounded an alert after a Chinese satellite flew over its southern airspace. Taiwan called it a provocative act and said it's another Chinese attempt to interfere in its democratic process. It comes on the heels of reports of Chinese balloons flying over the Taiwan Strait. For its part, China dismissed the charge. Let's take a look at this next report.
Taiwan's government issued an island-wide alert on Tuesday saying a Chinese satellite had flown over its southern airspace. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu said it is part of a pattern of harassment days before the presidential election and termed the satellite launch by China a provocation towards Taiwan.
So all these kinds of tactics is classified as gray zone activities. Continue to remind the people here in Taiwan that there's a danger of war in between Taiwan and China. And with these kinds of threat against Taiwan, I think we should be clear-eyed. We should not be provoked.
Addressing the international community, Taiwan's foreign minister said it's clearly a Chinese attempt to interfere in the democratic elections of Taiwan.
But for the international community, what I would like to call upon is for us to stay clear-eyed about China's attempt to interfere in our free and democratic election.
The security alert sent to mobile phone users in Taiwan said the Chinese satellite had flown over Taiwan airspace. Around the same time, Chinese state media confirmed the launch of a science satellite. However, China's defense ministry dismissed the allegations of interference in Taiwan's elections. Meanwhile, Taiwan's ruling party presidential candidate Lai Ching-te said on Tuesday he would maintain the status quo if elected and remain open to engagement with Beijing under the principles of equality and dignity.
I will continue to uphold these policies, which are in the interest of both Taiwan and the international community. I will maintain the status quo and continue to bring society together with the framework of the Republic of China, Taiwan. Our door will always be open to engagements with Beijing on the principles of equality and dignity.
Taiwan's defense ministry said that it will closely monitor Chinese balloons that threaten aviation safety. However, defense ministry made it clear that there are no plans to shoot them down currently because it would be a waste of ammo and serve the Chinese agenda. Raghav Kumar Jha reporting for DD India.
Well, with just 3 days until its globally significant presidential election, Taiwan has been hit by what experts say are acts of interference by the Chinese government. Taiwan's foreign minister on Tuesday said China was engaging in unprecedented levels of interference. He added that in addition to political and military pressure, it is also using economic means, cognitive warfare, disinformation, threats from weather balloons and incentives. Managing Director of International Policy Advisory Group, Stephen Tan, spoke about key issues to watch, reactions from the US and China, as well as the future of Taiwan depending on which candidate wins the highly watched elections.
Right after the election, both Taiwan administration and Washington will and should make multiple assurances to China that status quo, US one China policy, and Taiwan's basic and fundamental principles of maintaining the status quo would not change. And nothing is changed after the election, so that China would have no excuse, no miscalculations or misinterpretations in reaction to the outcome of the election or the new administrations. And so that, I think that assurances, both from Washington and Taipei, play a critical role, but then also Beijing will need to exercise with restraint.
Well, Taiwan voters will go to poll on January 13th to elect a new president. And to get us the latest on what's happening there, joining us is DD India correspondent Andrew Wood. Good morning, Andrew. What is the significance of this Taiwan elections? There is a lot of talk about, China having a direct, indirect role to play that we heard of from experts. But what's the real significance of Taiwan and the elections that they face?
I think the main significance is to find out how much that China's rather aggressive and belligerent stance towards Taiwan, the stick rather than the carrot, is working or not. Over the past year or two, Taiwan has been increasingly the subject of People's Liberation Army Air Force planes, warplanes flying into areas, into airspace that Taiwan considers its own, and warships from the Navy as well, the mainland Chinese Navy, going into what Taiwan considers its territorial waters. In the recent past month or two, we've seen more of these weather balloons, as China calls them, flying near to Taiwan or over the island of Taiwan. And we'll see whether all of that huffing and puffing is actually making Taiwanese voters more in favor of closer links with the mainland of China by voting for the opposition, or whether they're going to elect a president from the DPP party. The current president, President Chai, has been in power for 2 terms now. She can't stand again. Or whether William Lai, who's the candidate, is going to win, and an indication that Taiwan really wants to keep its distance from the mainland of China and is quite happy with the status quo, which has been where basically nobody tries to talk about it too much.
Andrew, also looking at the absence of opinion polls in an election, Taiwan doesn't allow. There is a 10-day gap between the elections that take place on the 13th and opinion polls coming into play. But looking at the significant players there in the fray, the 3 parties, the DPP, the TPP, and the KMT, how do you see? Is it a tightly fought election, one that Taiwan has never seen?
Well, the opposition parties, the TPP and the KMT, had a chance to improve the probability or improve their chances of winning the election by getting together and having one joint presidential candidate. So it would be a much clearer presidential election between people who, the DPP candidate, William Lai, who wants to keep things as they are, and this supposed joint opposition candidate. So it would be very much a binary choice. But the talks between the 2 opposition parties broke down. And so it's still looking like the polls are suggesting that that William Lai is going to win for the party, the DPP, that's already in power. I think one of the problems with this election is that the DPP can present all sorts of arguments against dealing with the mainland of China, especially how the mainland of China has become, as I say, more belligerent and more threatening perhaps to Taiwan. And it says that William Lai, they use rather colourful language saying that he's working for independence for Taiwan. The problem is that China doesn't really promote anything positive, doesn't really say much in the way of the positive benefits of unification with the mainland. It's in the past day or two, it's revived a plan to make the province on the mainland of China, Fujian, sometimes known as Hokkien, to become more of a model zone to help integrate with Taiwan. But there really isn't anything particularly positive that China comes up with. And of course, a lot of Taiwanese look at what's happened here in Hong Kong. For at least 10 years after the handover, Hong Kong seemed to be doing quite well. The one country, two systems formula that Beijing had agreed to seemed to be working. But that changed once President Xi Jinping came into power. It changed slowly at first, and then more and more quickly. And so nobody, I think, or very few people in Taiwan actually trust Beijing, even if it makes great promises about how it will preserve democracy on Taiwan and help to preserve Taiwan's separate, increasingly separate identity, that nobody, I think, would believe Beijing would actually do that.
Looking at the elections that take place on the 13th, if there is a change in a power, will it change the geopolitical fault lines that Taiwan lies in, considering the fact that China wants it back, America is there to help Taiwan? Looking at the situation, how do you see this play out?
I think this would be a very, very big shock if the opposition did win. At first, of course, I think that the outgoing government would probably publish just about every scrap of information that they had about what it might consider interference by the mainland of China in the election. And there may well be legal challenges to the election, perhaps, saying that China, this is a possible tactic that the outgoing government then could use. I think it would be a very, very big shock because it would appear that Beijing was winning. And I don't know what it would do for relations with America. Remember, America acknowledges the one China policy, the idea that there is one China. But it also has said that the issue of Taiwan about unification has to be decided by the people of Taiwan and not have a decision forced upon them. So this would really, I think, would be a big blow to America, I think.
Andrew, we'll leave it there. You've got a busy week ahead tracking that elections for us. Appreciate you joining us this morning on DD India News Hour. Shifting focus, as West Asia conflict rages on, Israel has claimed the death of a Hezbollah aerial unit commander in an airstrike. As per Israeli army, the Hezbollah commander Ali Hussein Barji has led an attack on an army headquarters base in northern Israel previously. Barji was also involved in dozens of drone attacks on Israel in the 17 years of deadliest hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah.
In the north, we killed the southern Lebanon commander of Hezbollah aerial unit, Ali Hussein Barzi, also known as Abu Mehdi. He was killed in the airstrike by the Air Force. Ali has led dozens of drone attacks on Israel.
Though Hezbollah has refuted the claims and said that the commander was never subjected to any assassination attempt. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock has called for 24 hours opening of Egypt's Rafah border for better access to aid. Speaking to media, Baerbock said that 3,000 fully loaded lorries with aid supplies intended for 1.9 million people in Gaza were struck and unable to enter the Palestinian enclave. The border crossing is currently only open during daylight hours, and Israel requires its own inspection of goods before delivery. Following this, lorries are often stuck at the Rafah crossing for days due to restrictions.
At the same time, we need much better access for the aid organizations. The trucks that are piling up here now, 3,000 fully loaded trucks that are piling up here in Al Arish to supply 1.9 million people a few kilometers away in Gaza. These trucks can no longer wait for days at this bottleneck here in Rafah. We need a border crossing that can function here around the clock. We'll do everything in our power to achieve this. But above all, we need more access points from Israel.
The US and UK forces have shot down 21 drones and missiles fired by Houthis on Tuesday. The incident took place in the southern Red Sea towards the international shipping lanes. The US Central Command reported of no injuries or damage and added that this was the 26th Houthi attack on commercial shipping lanes in the Red Sea since November 19th. Attacks by Houthi have been extraordinarily disruptive to international shipping, causing some companies to suspend transit through the Red Sea and instead take the much longer, costlier journey around Africa. Meanwhile, India has reiterated its stand on the Hamas-Israel armed conflict, saying dialogue and diplomacy is the only way forward. At the UNGA, Permanent Representative of India to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, strongly condemned the loss of civilian lives in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas, saying that the alarming humanitarian crisis was clearly unacceptable.
That the leadership of India is in constant touch with the leaders of the region, including those of Israel and Palestine. India has so far provided 70 tons of humanitarian aid, including 16.5 tons of medicine and medical supplies in 2 tranches to the people of Palestine. The message that India has conveyed since the start of this conflict is clear and consistent. It is important to prevent escalation, to ensure continued delivery of humanitarian aid, and to work towards an early restoration of peace and stability. A peaceful resolution of the conflict through dialogue and diplomacy is the only way forward.
Updates now on the Russia-Ukraine armed conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that there were clear signs of a slowdown in Russia's defense industry on Tuesday. Zelensky called for further action to eliminate loopholes in sanctions imposed on Moscow. Meanwhile, Russian officials have said that the production of military equipment has stepped up. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby announced a joint statement by the United States and its partners that opposed arms transfer between North Korea and Russia, including Russia's procurement of North Korean ballistic missiles and Moscow's use of the missiles against Ukraine.
I'm announcing that the foreign ministers of 47 countries, Secretary Blinken, and the High Representative of the European Union have released a joint statement condemning the DPRK's export and Russia's procurement of North Korean ballistic missiles, as well as Russia's use of these North Korean missiles against Ukraine. As the statement makes clear, the transfer of these weapons increases the suffering of the Ukrainian people, supports Russia's war of aggression, and undermines the global non-proliferation regime. And our governments stand together in resolute opposition to these arms transfers between the DPRK and Russia.
A group of armed men stormed a public television station in Ecuador during a live broadcast on Tuesday and threatened the staff. The attack on TC television network in Guayaquil, Ecuador's largest city, was captured by the station's own broadcast before the live feed was cut about 15 minutes into the raid. Shortly after the attack, Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa issued a decree classifying 22 gangs as terrorist organizations. Commander General of the Ecuadorian National Police said that the attack will be investigated as acts of terrorism. 13 suspects have been arrested and handed over to authorities. The incident followed the kidnapping of at least 7 police officers and a series of explosions a day after President Daniel Noboa declared a state of emergency. Peru's government on Tuesday declared an emergency along with the northern border with Ecuador due to a surge in violence caused by criminal gangs in the neighboring country. Prime Minister Alberto Otárola announced that the emergency declaration would deploy an unspecified number of army troops to support police forces.
We will declare an emergency all the northern border because in November we declared a state of emergency that's already in force and it's applied on Tumbes and Piura. But we will declare the emergency in other border regions which are Amazons, Cajamarca and Loreto.
The Chinese embassy and consulate general in Ecuador will be temporarily closed from Jan 10th until further notice. Former US President Donald Trump threatened to prosecute his successor Joe Biden if he returns to the White House before appearing in a federal appeals court hearing in Washington, D.C. Trump's lawyers argued to appeals judges that he was immune from prosecution on charges that he plotted to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. The panel of 3 judges also questioned whether they had jurisdiction to consider the appeal at this point in the case, raising the prospect that Trump's efforts could be dismissed. In a video posted on social media ahead of the hearing, Trump said he could prosecute Democratic President Joe Biden if he wins the November presidential election.
As president, I was protecting our country and doing a great job of doing so, and the historians will be saying that. They already are. But just look around at the complete mess that crooked Joe Biden has caused. He's the worst president in the history of our country by far. He's also the most corrupt president. The least I'm entitled to is presidential immunity, just like any other president would get. I'd be the only one that they would even consider not giving me immunity, because for whatever reason, people are angry that I've done such a good job, and I've replaced people that were corrupt, that were supposed to be president. So take on the fake Biden indictments. They're all Biden indictments.
Well, Iran will strengthen cooperation with regional countries to jointly fight terrorism. Its foreign ministry spokesperson Nazir Kanani said at a press conference in Tehran in response to the deadly bomb blast in the southern city of Kerman last week. Kanani said terrorism is a common threat to the world and the remnants of extremist organizations are still threatening regional people, and Iran will strengthen counter-terrorism efforts with regional countries. At least 84 people were killed and 284 others injured in the twin bombing on Jan 3rd near the tomb of top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in Kerman. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis delivered a State of the State speech in Florida on Tuesday. DeSantis addressed the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, unveiling plans to facilitate the transfer of Jewish college students to Florida with relaxed criteria. The governor also pinned the attacks on October 7th on the Iranian government and reiterated his goal to keep the Jewish community in Florida safe from anti-Semitism. Concluding his speech, Ron DeSantis committed to implementing policies aligning with the vision for a free Florida, emphasizing the revival of the American spirit.
Over the next 2 months, let's enact policies that focus on Florida's future and that keep faith with our nation's founding ideals. Together, we will keep Florida free and provide hope for a revival of.
Let's take a look at some other stories making news around the world. A majority of landfills across Hon Kem district in Hanoi have been given a second life. The district authority and residents have recently joined forces to turn unlicensed dumping sites along the Red River into public playgrounds. These renovations are gaining popularity in the city, effectively providing people with more green spaces. Netflix has released the first full-length trailer for the new sci-fi drama series Three Body Problems from Game of Thrones producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. The series starts in the late 60s and it goes till the end of time and the end of the universe. The OTT platform provided a headset at its booth, giving consumers an immersive experience connected to the series. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Tornadoes and snow hit across the United States, while Delhi colder than Nainital. Cold wave conditions to continue in various states across India. Demand for wooden models of Ram Temple at Ayodhya goes up ahead of its consecration. Music maestro Rashid Khan passes away after prolonged battle with cancer.
World that never stops, where information shapes our reality. One app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world, one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Arnold Thomas. What will likely be the United States' coldest December or coldest weather since December last year? A strong winter storm hit northeast parts of the United States over the weekend, dumping heavy snow and rain in several states, including New York and Massachusetts, with some areas reportedly witnessing as much as a foot of snow. Over 418,000 homes and businesses in 12 states are without power ahead of a brutal freeze. The current storm is covering most of the country east of the Mississippi River and is moving towards the U.S. Northeast. Cold weather and adverse weather conditions continue to affect different parts of the world, disrupting transport and everyday activities. In the grip of an intense and bone-chilling cold wave, North India, including Delhi and Uttar Pradesh, witnessed a struggle to stay warm as temperatures hit record lows. The mercury plummeted in Uttar Pradesh, prompting people to gather around bonfires for warmth. According to the IMD, Delhi faced its coldest day this winter on Tuesday, with the minimum temperatures dropping to 5.3 degrees Celsius. In India, many states have extended winter breaks after continuous dip in temperature due to cold weather conditions across the country. Delhi, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, Punjab and other cities have announced online classes or an extension to winter breaks for school children. But for more on the story, we've got DD India's correspondent Aditya Srivastava joining us to get us the latest on the weather conditions. Aditya, good morning. Severe cold conditions continuing across the whole of North India. How's the situation there, especially in the central part of India, the city Bhopal and the state in particular?
Good morning, Anil. Yes, North India and Central India, people are facing cold waves condition. If we talk about the Central India, especially Madhya Pradesh, 42 districts of Madhya Pradesh are gripped in fog. Last 24 hours, there are some places where minimum temperature was recorded in a single digit, especially in the Gwalior-Chambal region. Some hills are also seen in the Gwalior-Chambal region. Met Department officials said that next 24 hours will be the same in Madhya Pradesh. But yes, not only the Gwalior-Chambal region, but as well as the Malwa, Nimar, Indore, Jhabua, Dhar, these places are also facing a cold wave condition, or we can say a severe cold wave condition. A dense fog create a visibility problem. Those who are traveling on a roads, especially when we talk about the trains, some trains are also scheduled late due to the fog. And if we talk about the North India, due to the system in over the Haryana, that's why the North India states like Haryana, Delhi, Punjab, these places are also facing the dense fog situation due to this.
Okay. Also, Aditya, purely from the biting weather that people in North India at this point of time are facing, do you see this continue for a longer period of time? Do you see the likelihood of rain coming and adding more trouble to the people who are facing it tough to carry on? How do you see the IMD at least looking at the next 2 to 3 days? What should the people coming out on the street, what should they expect?
IMD officials said due to the system over the the Haryana, that's why North India like Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh are facing same situation for next 24 to 48 hours, like the severe cold wave, like the extreme fog. So we can say the prediction of officials of IMD department is that next 24 hours will be the same condition. So we can say that condition is very, very normal that time in the North India, like Delhi, Punjab, Haryana. But yes, we can expect that next 24 hours the temperature will be down for like in some single digit in some states like Haryana and Delhi also.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us. You take good care of yourself. We're going to come back across the day for more updates on weather from you. Well, now on to Ayodhya. The demand for a wooden model of the Ram temple at Ayodhya has gone up ahead of its consecration on the 22nd of January. More than 500 devotees from Nepal brought around 3,000 gifts, which include silver shoes, gold, silver ornaments, fruits, sweets, clothes, along with other items. The majority of the gift consists of dry fruits and traditional sweets of the region. Lord Ram is considered son-in-law in Nepal. The gifts were handed over to the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirath Kshetra Trust by the chief priest of Ram Janki Temple in Janakpur, the birthplace of goddess Sita. With preparations gearing up ahead of the consecration ceremony of the Ram temple in the pilgrim city of Ayodhya in Uttar Pradesh, Central Industrial Security Force, that CISF, has taken over the security of the Maharishi Valmiki International Airport, Ayodhya Dham. The move is aimed to ensure error-free security throughout the duration of the ceremony. Consecration ceremony of the Ram temple in India's Ayodhya will take place on the 22nd of Jan. Chief Minister of the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath, has declared 22nd of January as a state holiday. The announcement was made that all liquor shops in the state will remain closed on 22nd of Jan. Music maestro Ustad Rashid Khan passed away on Tuesday. He was undergoing treatment for cancer at a hospital in Kolkata. He was 55 years of age. He will be laid to rest with state honours in Kolkata on Wednesday. Rashid Khan was the nephew of Ustad Ghulam Mustafa Khan. The European Central Bank will cut interest rates this year once it sees evidence the inflation outlook has settled in line with its 2% target, as the European Central Bank policy maker Franco Villeroy de Gaulois on Tuesday. Eurozone inflation has been steadily declining, although it rose in December to 2.9% from 2.4% in November, mainly for technical factors like the end of government subsidies and low energy prices falling out of base figures used to calculate inflation rates. French personal care company L'Oréal unveiled new physical and digital products at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. The CEO of L'Oréal Group, Nicolas Hermones, displayed the company's new AI chatbot, Beauty Genius, that gives advice on what products might be best suited to a consumer by analyzing an uploaded photograph. Deputy CEO joined the presentation and introduced Lancome's Hapta, the world's first AI-powered motion-stabilizing makeup device designed for disabled individuals who have faced challenges with applying beauty products.
Introducing Hapta, the first AI-powered motion-stabilizing makeup device.
Let's move to some stories from the world of sports. Batter Alicia Haley hammered a 38-ball half-century to lead Australia to a 2-1 series win against India in the 3-match T20 series. Haley's initial assault put Australia well ahead, with fellow opener Beth Mooney hitting her first 50 on the tour to finish off the job. Australia chased 148 with 7 wickets and 8 deliveries to spare. India scored 147 for 6, which was the highest first innings total of the series. Shefali Verma was the top scorer. Richa Ghosh, 34 of 28, provided that batting boost. However, figures of 2 for 12 for Annabelle Sunderland and 2 for 24 from Georgia Wyman in their quotas of full overs proved to be highly influential in the end. Earlier, Australia won the ODI series before losing the one-off test match. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. You can also visit our website, ddindia.co.in. Well, that's it in this edition of DD India. I am Anil Thomas. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.